Howdy, 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 my name is Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. Before we start, I want to draw attention to the Bigfoot thing. I just finished watching the Survivor Man miniseries on Bigfoot, and the whole time he was talking about the things people say Bigfoot has done when they've seen him, just made me think of this entry and just wondering like, I wonder if any of those things, but that's silly. In any case, let me see if I can find where we were last time. I believe we read the decomposition mitten. Let me scroll back up a little. No, yeah, we're in the 1100s. I just didn't push the right button. So, Xenoplague, Answer Dice. Alright, so I think we're up to Agent Palmer, a film festival, Aquatic Horror, Hyperarousal Response, and a handy shortcut. Because I do remember reading the Xenoplague and the Answer Dice. So let's check out that there Agent Palmer. Well, they're safe. SCP-1126 is to remain planted at Biosite 68. It is to be tethered by steel cable to 4 concrete pillars moored in the ground around it to prevent it from moving or uprooting itself. It is to be watered at 900 hours daily, which is 9 o'clock in the morning, twice weekly, not daily. Personnel are neither to encourage nor discourage the claims that 1126 makes. Alright. SCP-1126 is a specimen of the Vicia Joannis palm, standing 12 meters tall. Despite being a member of the species endemic to Fiji, 1126 was discovered in Cleveland, Ohio. It is animate and capable of speech. It possesses the speech mannerisms and personality of the stereotypical Cold War spy. It claims to be Agent Palmer, a reconnaissance agent from an organization known as TROPIC, Tropic. Said organization's apparent mission is the exploration, advancement, and domination of tropical flora and fauna into the climatologically oppressed regions of the world. There is no evidence to support the organization's existence. 1126 states that prior to its discovery by the Foundation, it had successfully surveyed over 55 square kilometers of rural and urban territory in the state of Ohio. The veracity of this claim remains indeterminate. Draped around 1126's trunk is a dark gray trench coat with 2 belts that fasten tightly across the waist. While the sleeves, pockets, and flaps of the trench coat may be shifted or opened, it has proven impossible to completely disrobe 1126. The coat is secured to the trunk by unknown means. In addition, 1126 repeatedly issues threats of its close-quarters combat prowess and recommends that its body not be explicitly investigated. It can manipulate the trench coat as though it has arms, usually positioning the sleeves as though it were clasping hands behind its back. 1126 achieves forward locomotion by rocking back and forth on its root ball. It may occasionally remain silent for several days in a row and tends towards speaking less often or with a hoarse voice when given less water. Also shows a propensity for neologism. Neologism? That! I don't know why I'm struggling with ology words today. Neologism. Yeah, there we go. Interviewed. SCP-1126. Interviewer, Dr. Sam Quentin. The following interview was conducted shortly after 1126 had been watered one morning. I feel like I shouldn't try to do a stereotypical Cold War, spy voice, because it's just going to come off as mildly racist by accident if I try. So. Well, first. Hello, SCP-1126. Pleased to make your acquaintance, enemy number 29. Note, 1126 had not met Dr. Quentin prior to this. And how are you today? As I have explained, I am alert. I will not rest until these enchainments have been broken and I am free from the tyranny of the temperate bloc. Is there anything you would like to say for the record, 1126? This is day 14 of my imprisonment. My confederables, Agent Spanish Moss and Agent Jewel Beetle, are waiting for me on the outside. Even as we speak, they are finding weakenings in the defense field of this oppressed establishment. And these agents are members of Tropic? Tropic is fighting for the ideal of the safety and proliferation of tropical life. I will fight with it to my dying breath. The mission must be completed. And why did you choose Ohio for reconnaissance? I did not choose my assignages, enemy number 29. I accept them. For an agent of espionage, you seem to be revealing your orders quite freely. The world must be made aware of our agenda. Well then, thank you. That will be all. Stanson makes his way to leave the area, shouting, "Long live Tropic and down with the Polaris regime!" Closing statement. 1126 appears to be able to accurately keep track of the passage of time and remembers individuals it has previously encountered. Addendum, beginning on 2011 blankety blank, 1126 has made a daily ritual of rocking backwards and forwards in place at midnight in an attempt to break free of its moorings. These attempts last only for several minutes each and are considered no threat to containment. Yeah, y'all just keep thinking that. Next up is a film festival. It's safe though, so maybe they're good movies. But these folders imply otherwise. Special containment procedures. Instances of 1127 identified outside of containment are to be investigated by MTF Mu53 Ebert's Thumb. Physical copies of 1127 are to be seized, and digital copies are to be captured on secure encrypted recording media before being neutralized. Any victims of full SCP-1127 exposure must be evaluated to determine if the effects have rendered them an unacceptable threat to the general public. Those deemed an acceptable risk are to be treated with Class A amnestics and released. Note! Amnestics have no effect on the symptoms of 1127 exposure. Those that cannot be released back to the population will be reclassed as disposable dudes or terminated at the site director's discretion. Contained copies of 1127 are to be kept in the secure media vault at Site Blank. Instances of 1127 shall only be viewed on devices approved by the site director within Site Blank's secure viewing room. Instances of 1127 shall only be viewed in their entirety by disposable dudes as part of an approved experiment. Foundation personnel should avoid unnecessary exposure and log any incidents of viewing 1127. Any personnel who have logged over 15 minutes cumulative lifetime viewing of any version of 1127 must cease working with it and be assigned to other duties. Description: SCP-1127 is a series of short films ranging between 23 and 42 minutes in length. To date, something 100 copies of 3 different films have been recovered, and 1 has been identified but not yet contained. The films have been designated 1, 2, 3, and 4. It is unknown how many more films in the 1127 series have yet to be identified and recovered by the Foundation. Each film is composed primarily of scenes clipped from other movies and shorts, with additional video from various other sources. Sound and dialogue have been added or modified, and a narrator character unique to each film appears, fully integrated into the clips and comprising the film, regardless of the original source of the material. The narrator provides commentary and occasionally interacts with objects and characters within the recycled footage. Anomalous properties present after a cumulative 20 minutes of exposure to the contents of any single film in the 1127 series. Effects do not present when audio and video are perceived separately. Each film in the series produces a different effect in the viewer, but in each case the effect is a permanent disruption in normal behavior patterns, altering emotional reactions to various stimuli. Alright, so what's in number 1? Okay, initial appearance. 1 first appeared on blankety blank 2000-something at the Blank Movie 10 Cineplex in Blank, New York. 1 had been inserted into the first half hour of Redacted. Exits were blocked by persons unknown, and approximately blank 100 people were exposed. Length 23 minutes. Titles: Were Clowns Always Yellow? Number 5. Narrator: a middle-aged man wearing an SS uniform including a holstered pistol. His face is obscured by elaborate clown makeup. Identified video sources: The Sound of Music, The Night Porter, The Day the Clown Cried, Surf Nazis Must Die, Redacted, archival footage from the World War II era. Simple narration: when our lives become the joke, humor becomes a war crime. The punchline is always death, and to get it is to abandon the pretense that getting it matters. Laugh at the reality that is laughing at you! Narrator draws his pistol and shoots blank blank in the back of the head. Effects from exposure. After exposure to 1, subjects will generally consider it the most humorous thing they have ever seen. Afterwards, subjects will express disturbance and disgust at any communication is normally intended to be humorous. Most jokes will be seen as offensive, and videos of comedians or comedies will cause distress or revulsion. 1 disposable dude had to be physically restrained when showed an episode of Monty Python's Flying Circus after exposure. Conversely, communication that might normally cause distress prior to exposure, autopsy photos, graphic war footage, videos of public suicide will be seen as amusing or funny. Conclusions. Victims of 1 exposure are deemed safe to re-enter the general population after administration of Class A amnestics. But something must have changed since it says the amnestics don't do anything. Okay, number 2. Initial appearance on blankety blank 2000-something. A copy of 2 was uploaded to blank.com and registered blank 1,000 views before exposure was contained with a DMCA notice. So probably YouTube. Foundation agents tracked the origin to a proxy server in Guam. Investigation continues as to its origin. It's 37 minutes long. Crazy where? You are. Number 0. Narrator, a female child approximately 12 years old, wearing a blue dress and a black domino mask. She carries a teddy bear that she slowly dismembers with a small knife during the course of the film. Identified film sources: Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, 1971, a Three Stooges short, They Stooge to Conga, Faces of Death, La Planète Sauvage, Redacted, various animated sources from 1930-something to 1960-something, including Bugs Bunny Nips the Nips, and the Tom and Jerry short, The Midnight Snack. Sample narration, whispering during a clip of Bugs Bunny Nips the Nips. What are you afraid of? Violence? Afraid that violence is the answer? Or is it the question? Ask the question you are afraid of. You already know the answer. Pain doesn't hurt. Effects from viewing. After exposure, subjects will generally express no strong emotional response to 2 at all. Subjects also lose interest and emotional connections to things, activities, and people they had prior to exposure. Subjects will also react to dangerous and hostile environments with disinterest to the point they will ignore immediate threats to their personal safety. Subjects also express a marked decrease in empathy and may injure or harm others out of curiosity. Victims of 2 exposure are unsafe to re-enter the general population due to the risk they pose to others. Y'all should use that on people you send to see the unkillable lizard to see how he reacts to it. Maybe they already did. I never did go back to see all the different ways they failed to kill him. I meant to do that, but I forgot. Sorry! Initial appearance of Tape 3 during blankety blank 2000-something to blankety blank 2000-something, an illegal UHF transmitter off the coast of blank Michigan broadcast a loop of 1127-3 for approximately 72 hours. Foundation involvement occurred subsequent to cessation of broadcast. Blank people were found to be affected. No copy of 3 has yet been recovered. Length approximately 30 minutes. Title: All Comes with Yesterday. Number X. The narrator is a woman approximately in her mid-30s wearing an Elizabethan ball gown. She wears a metallic golden mask in the form of a rat's face. When she is in profile, the mask appears to be stitched to the side of her head. Some blood is visible. Identified video sources: RoboCop, Eraserhead, The 10 Commandments, Natural Born Killers, Dawn of the Dead, Apocalypse Now. Simple narration, monotone, 3-second beat between words. Desire. Aspire. Require. Conspire. Acquire. Retire. Expire. I'm not going to do the 3 seconds. 3 seconds is longer than I thought it was. Choir. Pyre. Liar. 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 Continue saying liar for several minutes. Effects from viewing. After exposure, subjects express an extreme discomfort with technological artifacts. They dislike any object that has been machined, processed, or otherwise manufactured. This applies not only to things generally considered technological, but to almost anything that is the result of human intervention in the environment, including clothing, and anything beyond the most simple tool use. This effect extends to abstract concepts as well, in particular the concepts of money, personal property, and political organization. Conclusion. Victims of 3 exposure pose little danger, but are unable to reintegrate into modern society. After administration of Class A amnestics, any individuals to be released must be placed in an institutional environment or be relocated to Redacted, where they can be assimilated into the Redacted population. Let me drink some water real quick before I move on. I feel the microphone may have just picked up all of the sounds of drinking water, and I apologize. Just in case. Next up is the 4th one. Oh, wow. Initial appearance from blankety blank 2000-something to blankety blank 2000-something. Blank 100 copies of 4 had been inserted as a special feature onto DVD stocked at the blankety blank adult bookstore in blank Canada. Blank copies had been sold, all recovered. Blank individuals were exposed to 4's full effect. Should I read this one? If it was from an adult bookstore, should I read this one? I don't know. It's 42 minutes long. Why are you crying? Number -1? Narrator, male in his early 20s, shirtless, wearing black leather pants and a leather mask obscuring his face. As the film progresses, welts and bruises appear on the narrator's torso without apparent cause. Identified video sources: Cremaster 3, Dog Something, 1971, A Dirty Shame, Lolita, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, Celo ole 120 Giornate de Sodoma. Redacted, and various videos available on the internet, including blank blah blank blank. Simple narration. Do you want to close your eyes and run to mommy? Well, run to her, then. Run to her and tell her all those sick things that make you want to puke, and whip it out and... Yeah, no, we're not going to finish reading that one. Next up is Aquatic Horror. Yeah, that got significantly heavier than the rest of them abruptly, so we're not going to... No. So, 1128. Written descriptions or imagery of 1128's appearance or videos of the entity breaching, see Addendum 3, found outside of the Foundation are to be destroyed, and Class C amnestics are to be administered to anyone who exposed to such information or showing signs of contamination. Oh, this one's Euclid, by the way. Not safe. A written description of the entity's appearance is to be kept at site blank for experimental purposes only, and is not to be read by anyone other than disposable dudes used for testing. If exposed, staff are to report immediately for administration of Class C amnestics. Mobile Containment Force Kappa 12 has been assigned to intercept and redirect any and all water traffic that passes through their designated patrol area by any means necessary. See Addendum 2. Description. SCP-1128 is an entity that manifests as a massive, don't know where I got the word giant from, aquatic predator to anyone given a full description of the being's appearance through either spoken/written descriptions or visual depictions of the being. Persons infected by 1128 will initially exhibit no abnormal behavior, though some cases show a general aversion to activities involving bodily immersion in water, such as bathing or swimming. Should subject ever be fully immersed in water, they will disappear completely under the surface of the water, regardless of the water's actual depth. In most cases, subjects will appear moments later in a panicking state and frantically try to leave the water, while in some other cases, the water will become polluted with blood and debris confirmed to be the remains of the subject. Subjects that have reappeared intact claim that they were transported to a vast ocean, where they are pursued by 1128. Interviews with these individuals carry some risk of further contamination, as descriptions of the being's appearance trigger further infections. 1128 infection can be treated with Class C amnestics, as it appears memory of the entity or descriptions of it are required for its anomalous properties to take effect. Addendum 1. Testing with disposable dudes have shown that wireless communication devices function normally when used by submerged subjects affected by 1128. See interview for details. Let's open that in a new tab. Addendum 2. Tracking devices affixed to disposable dudes using experiments reveal that submerged subjects are transported to an area within the blank ocean. It looks like it could be Pacific, but maybe Indian. Not far off the coast of Redacted. Further investigation of these coordinates revealed the area to be data expunged. Mobile Containment Force Kappa 12 Sea Devils has been assigned to keep unauthorized seafaring vessels out of this area at all costs. Note, that's where we've been sending those D-Class? How does a short-range wireless communicator get such a clear signal from that far away? Okay, it's probably the Arctic Ocean then. Addendum 3. Tests involving D-1732, who had been used for repeated 1128 testing without administration of amnestics, was shown to be able to encounter the entity in bodies of water normally insufficient for bodily immersion. This effect became more drastic over time, with 1732 developing progressively stronger hydrophobic tendencies, claiming to see 1128 from outside almost any body of water encountered by the subject. On blank 2000-something blank days after initial exposure, 732 was violently pulled into a glass of water by Redacted. No remains were recovered from the incident. Staff witnessing the event were found to be infected by 1128 and administered Class C amnestics. Containment procedures were then updated to include videos and descriptions of this event, and testing involving extended infection of D-Class was terminated. Dang. Glass of water. Also, didn't know that was going to be a new page. Okay, how long is the interview? It's not that long. Interview D blank by Dr. Blank. D blank was instructed to read from a small pamphlet describing 1128's appearance, then was outfitted with diving gear and lowered into a large tub of water via winch and cable. The gear was outfitted with a wireless communication device to allow contact between himself and Dr. S, and to test if the SP had any effect on such devices. Interview has been edited to remove hazardous information pertaining to 1128. Can you hear me? Over. I hear you, Doc. Damn, this thing is deep. It looks so tiny from the outside. How well is your reception? Over. Good enough, I guess. Kind of fuzzy, but not enough that I can't hear what you're saying. What is your current status? Right now, I'm just sinking to the bottom of this... Is this the ocean? How the hell did you manage to fit an entire ocean in a stinking bathtub? Irrelevant, D. What are your surroundings? I just said ocean, damn it! There's fish and everything. Don't you guys know what the hell's inside of your... Ugh. Dude, what happened? I'm fine. I just hit the bottom. Looks like I landed in a patch of seaweed or something. What are your surroundings? Seaweed mostly. Wait a second. It gets thinner to my right? Looks like there might be a drop off that way. Should I go take a look? You may proceed. Okay. Damn, suit's heavy. It's hard to move in this thing. Hey, is this thing soundproof? Oh, my talking isn't scaring off any... Oh my god! D, respond! What is your status? I'm okay. Okay, I don't think it saw me. Damn, I think I pissed myself. What happened? What did you see? Scariest damn thing I've ever seen. Some kind of big-ass description redacted. Wait a second. That's a thing from the stupid booklet you gave me, isn't it? Affirmative. Please refrain from describing it any further. What is it doing? Nothing right now. It's just swimming along. I think it's got something in its mouth. Is that a whale? Holy crap, it is! It's eating a whale! Oh god, look at those teeth! I think we're done here. Pull them out now. Thank you for your cooperation. We're bringing you up now. And now he swallowed it. Damn, that's gonna haunt my dreams. Wait, it stopped moving. I think it sees me. Oh god, it's looking right at me. It's headed this way. Oh god, help me! Get him out of there now! Hysterical, spouting gibberish when feed cuts to static. Winch was retracting at full speed when the cable went taut, wresting the winch from its mounting. Cable then went slack, and water became polluted with blood confirmed to be that of D. No further remains or equipment were recovered, and every log and relevant documents were edited for vectors, and all staff present were treated with Class C amnestics. Well, it's big enough to eat whales. Okay, so the first experiment was the one I just read the interview for. Second one, they were equipped with scuba gear and put into a shark cage. No response for approximately something seconds. Then the line went taut and was severed at a point beneath the water. The remains, as well as jagged steel fragments, presumably the remnants of the cage, surfaced shortly afterwards. Procedure, same as above. Results, same as above. Note, blank hours later, the Sea Devils reported finding an intact shark cage floating beneath the surface of patrol near one of their vessels. The item was retrieved and confirmed to match description of the cage used in the experiment. The cage was undamaged but bore traces of human DNA and feces of indeterminate origin. No remains were found. Experiment 4. Exposed D-Class equipped with diving gear and armed with a redacted for use against hostile organisms. Unlike previous tests, this subject was also equipped with a live feed video camera attached to his helmet. I think my neighbors have just started playing loud music. Video feed shows weapon was ineffective against SCP-1128, appearing only to enrage the creature rather than harm it considerably or drive it away. The feed was lost when they were devoured. Human devoured! Staff involved treated with amnestics following transcription of video feed. And last one, exposed D-Class equipped with protective environment suit and video feed lowered into a vat of redacted to test 1128 manifestation in liquids other than water. Sauce is chosen for its low density, allowing free movement similar to walking in open air. Result, D-Class recovered without incident, liquid did not trigger the effect. No. Okay, so, you might be safe from the thing in liquids other than water, but that probably won't help you much unless you intend to drink and bathe in exotic chemicals for the rest of your life, which would probably get a lot shorter if you tried that. Alright, next up is the Hyperarousal Response. Does it mean what it sounds like it means, or does it mean something else? It's Euclid, whatever it is. SCP-1129 is to be contained in a 3x3x3 meter chamber in the high security wing of Site-83. Due to the nature of it, no direct or first-degree indirect viewing methods such as observation windows or cameras are allowed within the containment chamber except as authorized by level 4 or higher researcher. Visual contact with 1129, whether direct, indirect, or recorded, is not allowed except under strictly controlled experimental conditions. The continued presence and status is monitored by ultrasound, as the image produced does not cause the effects typical of observing 1129. Knowledge of the effects is not essential for any personnel with less than level 4 security clearance. Personnel assigned to the research, containment, security, or other support teams associated with it are to be sequestered from the other personnel at Site-83 until such a time as they have been removed from the assignment and have completed the debriefing and clearance procedures. If any personnel at Site-83, whether assigned to SCP-1129 or not, begin to exhibit the Stage 1 or Stage 2 symptoms described below, they are to be administered Class B amnestics immediately and must receive a psychological examination to determine the severity of after effects, with further psychological treatment made available as necessary. It used to say, if a member of assigned personnel is deemed unnecessary to the continued containment of 1129, they may be transferred to another project so long as they had no direct exposure to it. Now it says, prior to transfer, all personnel who have been assigned to 1129 must successfully complete a memory restructuring following treatment with Class A amnestics. At that point, they must complete a minimum 2-week quarantine period to be certain they do not manifest Stage 1 or 2 symptoms. Okay. Description. SCP-1129 is a large object of apparently biological origin. Its composition is largely unknown, as it seems to flow past any and all objects that approach it, temporarily breaking apart and changing its own dimensions as needed. Due to this, only one sample has ever been obtained, which showed the presence of several amino acids and hormone analogs consistent with terrestrial life, but no DNA samples were detected. Based on longitudinal ultrasound recordings, it appears that 1129 is dimensionally fractal in nature, with a partial existence in a theoretical 3.333 to the 3.33 to the third spatial dimension. Based on behavior, it is presumed that 1129 is sentient, although this is unconfirmed. When any sentient being makes visual contact with 1129, they will immediately enter Stage 1, which is characterized by an extremely heightened flight reflex. They will attempt to flee from 1129 by any means possible, ignoring obstacles and personal injury. And what does that footnote say? This effect is most pronounced in mammals, but has been observed in all animal life, including birds, fish, snails, and insects. Certain sentient anomalies, however, are not affected, and that leads to another link that I can't click yet. Human subjects have later described this as having been overcome with intense fear and unthinkable hysteria. Stage 1 symptoms will increase in intensity so long as the subject remains within 23.3 meters of 1129, or remains in direct line of sight of 1129. Stage 1 symptoms will persist for several hours after the affected being has left the immediate range of effect of 1129. The exact length of time varies considerably from individual to individual, with an average of 4 hours. If the affected subject is unable to leave the range of effect, they will exhibit increasingly frantic behaviors until finally expiring. Post-mortem examinations have revealed that the cause of death is typically cardiac arrest or the equivalent, consistent with a prolonged heightened state of fear and stress. Once the subject has recovered from Stage 1 symptoms, they will immediately proceed to Stage 2. Stage 2 is characterized by heightened aggression and hostility towards 1129. So human subjects experiencing these symptoms will invariably describe 1129 as wrong, not the right kind of real, not fitting here, etc., and incredibly dangerous. They will express a strong desire to destroy it immediately by any means possible. If the animal subject to Stage 2 symptoms is not able to convince others to assist them in destroying it, they will attempt to do so on their own, up to and including breaching containment or other of SCP-1129 or other items believed to possibly be useful in the destruction of it. If multiple individuals are experiencing Stage 2 symptoms, they will work together in a destruction attempt. Subjects do not display any change in intelligence, skills, or ability to communicate, however, and cross-species cooperation is usually minimized. No other change in behavior or motivation is noted, and subjects experiencing Stage 2 symptoms will pause in order to eat or sleep, although they return to their destruction attempts as soon as feasible. However, upon seeing 1129, subjects will promptly return to Stage 1 with no apparent memory of having experienced it before, beginning the cycle again. So it sounds like they basically go, "Get away! Kill it! Get away! Kill it!" forever. The cycle will continue unabated until the subject has either died or been administered amnestics. In addition to 1.7% of cases, a subject will enter Stage 3 instead, which is characterized by all voluntary muscles freezing in place. This muscle locking persists despite all treatments, including removal of 1129's range of effect, administration of muscle relaxers, administration of amnestics, and medical destruction of the motor nerves controlling them. To date, the most control of voluntary muscles that has ever been regained was in 3 individuals who regained control of the eyelids, allowing voluntary blinking and partial control of the vocal cords. In these cases, amnestics were successful in eradicating the Stage 1 and 2 symptoms. Video feeds and photography of 1129 produce an identical effect, though artist renditions have no effect. It used to say, despite this profound observational cognitohazard effect, 1129 seems to be completely harmless otherwise. Now it says, it has now been determined that transition into Stage 2 may be caused by any significant knowledge of the nature of its effects. It is now considered a Grade 3 info hazard and has been upgraded to Euclid. See Addendum. Addendum! On April the something in 19-something, researchers assigned to 1129 began to share the consensus that 1129 was incredibly dangerous and submitted multiple requests for its decommissioning, which were all denied. A new team of researchers were assigned, but within 30 days they exhibited the same opinions as the previous team. Subsequent research teams have displayed the same effects despite updated containment procedures. Teams of researchers are now to be cycled on a bi-weekly basis as that seems to slow the onset of the info hazard aspect of its effects. Efforts are currently underway to identify and locate all personnel Foundation-wide who may have been exposed to information regarding 1129 directly or second-hand, with administration of amnestics and memory restructuring performed as appropriate. As of the date of this report, blank 1,000 personnel have been identified and successfully treated. Now, which SCP is this referring to? Those who lived on Hub? Those who lived on. Oh, it's it's the whole ass thing. Alright, never mind. And that brings us to a handy shortcut. It's safe, so maybe it really is a handy shortcut instead of something terrifying. It's probably something terrifying, though. Special containment procedures. SCP-1130 is to be contained within a standard safe class protective storage locker at Site 12. Please be advised that D-Class personnel used in testing may exhibit erratic and/or aggressive behavior when exiting 1130-2. A team comprised of one medical officer with Level 3 clearance and a minimum of 2 Level 2 security personnel is to be maintained at any test site to detain and, if necessary, sedate test subjects upon reemergence. Security personnel thus stationed are to carry Daninject projector rifles loaded with 3 QB darts. QB darts. We're calling them QB darts. To avoid public exposure, testing is to be scheduled between the hours of 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. local time, and directions are to only be requested for suitably secluded destinations. Civilians witnessing any aspect of testing procedures are to be detained and administered Class A amnestics prior to relocation. Considering currently archived debriefing reports and exploration logs, 2 has been designated a Protean-class dimensional anomaly. Any research or security personnel assigned to the 1130 are expected to be familiar with relevant guidelines. Description: SCP-1130 is an interactive kiosk providing free directions from a fixed position in blank blank to any street address within city limits. Its outer structure measures 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters by 175 centimeters and is composed of an unadorned sheet metal. A blank brand LCD touchscreen is set in the front of the kiosk at an angle, beneath which is a 25 centimeter by 2 centimeter slot from which directions are dispensed. A maintenance hatch set in the back panel provides access to the interior. No processing unit, power source, or printing peripheral have been found inside, and 1130 appears to be fully functional without these components. A small tag in the upper right of the back panel identifies it as a model blank urban wayfinding unit built by the Blank Corporation in 2000-something. Non-conclusive evidence was later found linking the company's deceased founder to Elevix Electronics, which seems to be something. Covert inquiries with the company have shown that, while it does indeed manufacture this model, no record exists of 1130 having been manufactured, assembled, or distributed. The primary anomalous property manifests when directions have been requested and printed. Directions obtained from 1130 will invariably instruct subjects to leave established routes and make use of a door described as Maintenance Portal 26 Sigma, referred to as 1130-1. It takes the form of a severely weathered arced metal door and has never been observed to be in the same location twice, even when the same route is requested multiple times. One does not exist in its prescribed location prior to the production of directions by 1130. Multiple subjects following the same set of directions will be able to find and make use of the same door until it closes. At that point, one will vanish from sight and subjects left behind will be unable to follow the directions any further. If directions are photocopied, one will only appear when following the original specimen. One can be recorded by all present when encountered, and visual reproductions will show one as encountered by subjects following directions. Those subjects who successfully follow directions to their destination and remain suitable for debriefing report one vanishing behind them once inside. Additionally, subjects describe having to traverse a space composed of up to blank kilometers of interconnected halls, rooms, and tunnels designated 2, before finding themselves before 1 again. Spaces encountered are always in a severe state of disrepair and do not appear to be linked in a logical fashion. One test subject reported stepping from what seemed to be an abandoned subway tunnel into the kitchen of a derelict blank fast food diner. All subjects have described a constant auditory phenomenon while in 2, but at this point in time its source is unclear. Debriefings and post-event psychological evaluations reveal test subjects seem to develop a persistent sense of being pursued, growing stronger as the time spent in 2 and this phenomenon increases. Extended exposure may lead to development of psychological trauma, depending on the mental and emotional stability of test subjects. After exiting 2, subjects will find themselves at their destination. Test results indicate that, on average, 11 to 23 seconds lapse between subjects entering and exiting 2. However, this does not take into account the time subjects spend in transit, which may range from several hours to several weeks. Communication of any kind with subjects in transit has been proven to be impossible. GPS locator signals give test subjects location upon entering 2 as redacted. This does not change until subjects emerge from 2. Audio and video recording devices function normally but will not transmit data while in 2. This necessitates personal recording devices to be worn by test subjects. Addendum A1, Recovery and Preliminary Containment Notes. SCP-1130 was retrieved from its location in blank blank after a number of documented disappearances among tourists. Officials were only able to locate one missing individual who was found wandering through a gated community 7 kilometers from 1130's location. On his person were the directions requested from 1130 and what was later identified as a Queen Elizabeth M17 steel helmet. The Foundation was alerted when details of the case triggered a dedicated monitoring station, and a recovery team led by Agent Blank moved to secure SCP-1130. The tourist was located and was administered Class A amnestics. 1130 is removed from its position outside the Blank subway station by the recovery team posing as municipal work crew. Addendum 2, Partial Transcript Log File of Log File 1130T14/730-73-299. Personnel involved in tests, a doctor, and a disposable dude of that number. Or possible disposable lady. The following is a partial video and audio transcript for log file 1130-T-14/73299. Before testing commenced, subject was given directions to blank blank street as provided by 1130. They received MRE rations, including the necessary FRH packets, and enough water for 7 days. Head-mounted video and personal audio recording devices were checked and found functioning with expected parameters. Transcript. Again, video/audio log transcript. Jim, are we recording? A muffled reply could be heard from behind the camera. Okay then. Now, could you please state your name and designation for us? Who, me? My name is blank blank and my DNUM is 73299. Thank you. Now, we've provided you with directions and supplies. We'd like you to provide us with a running commentary while you're in there. Can you do that? I guess. And I won't be able to talk to you guys, right? That's correct. But we'll be recording everything you see and hear. Opens 1130-1. Please enter. We'll shut the door after you, so don't worry about that. I hope you guys know what you're doing. Hey, watch it! They are helped into 2 by security personnel present. The sound of a door slamming shut can be heard, followed by the subject muttering obscenities. Subject turns around and appears to be searching for one which is no longer visible. Subject switches on head-mounted LED light and looks around. This reveals what appears to be the interior of a World War II era submarine. Jesus! Where the hell am I? Subject surveys his surroundings. Small pools of water can be seen all along the deck. The left side of the small elongated space seems to be filled with a set of bunks. Blankets lie on the rusted metal cots. To the right is a long, rusty metal wall sectioned off by bulkheads. At front of subject is a small door with a lock wheel. Water seems to be continually dripping from the ceiling and walls. Okay, gotta breathe. Gotta keep breathing. So, you want me to talk? Looks like a boat or something. Things rusted and filthy, but I guess you can see that. There was some kind of sign here. Let me get in a bit closer. Subject steps around the water on the floor. A rusted metal sign comes into view. No idea what the hell kind of language that is. Might be French? I can't even pronounce it. Anyway, Cam must be recording it, so you can figure it out. Post-event observation sign read Achtung Rachen Verboten. So it's not French, it's German. So just suddenly turns around, obviously agitated. God damn, what was that? I think I heard something. Analysis of recovered audio does not indicate an audible sound. Seems to be coming from right behind. There it is again! The hell is that? Subject runs toward the door and attempts to turn the wheel. Subject can be heard grunting and swearing. At this point in the recording, a faint background audio signal is picked up. Analysis pending. It sounds like Like teeth. Subject manages to open the door and slips through before hurriedly pulling it closed behind him. He stands with his back to the door, shaking. A room is dimly visible beyond the beam of the subject's LED light. Several hospital beds seem to be scattered around the room. The windows are boarded up tightly. Huh? Where'd the boat go? Goddamn, where am I? So it takes a few steps before abruptly standing still. I'm hearing it again, but I closed that fucking door. No, I closed it. Subject breaks into a run towards the other side of the room, tripping over a fallen IV stand, so sobbing can be heard. End video audio log. They emerge from the side of a building close to his target destination at 7:03:21. Subject was in a state of confusion and panic, showing signs of severe malnutrition. Subject did not respond to instructions and attempted to leave the test site. He was subsequently neutralized by security personnel and detained for debriefing. Post-event physical and psychological evaluation determined the amount of time spent to be between 2 and 4 weeks. In addition, subject appeared to have pulled all his own teeth with a pair of pliers recovered from 2. Okay, what's Elevix Electronics? Oh, it's another SCP. Okay. I'm a long way away from that one. But anyway, that about does it for this episode of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the next one, we'll be checking out the Oscar Bug, Snake Tongue, Intravenous Sin, Lead Paint, and Living Village. If you liked it, a like and a subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you don't need to do either one of those things. If you want to click the bell, you can do that as well so that you're notified of future uploads. And I will see y'all in the next one. Later.